This is the Jake Berger show. It's my life. I don't need anyone else involved, but I want people to be involved. So I'm sending a message. It's like a thunderbolt. Some people like the storm. Some people run away from the storm. Here I am. This is rated NFC, not for Catholics, not for Christians. It's about practical spirituality. But people are getting too serious these days. There's TMI, too much information. We're going to talk about that, but in a different way today because we got a special guest. But before that, this is about how to achieve goals and feel awesome doing it. Celebrating wins. Because I play basketball, and one guy, he would like destroy the entire court just to win. He's like got an angry skull stamped into his forehead. So, but how do we enjoy the sacred moments? So that's what this show is about. And I've got a very special guest today. He's a very talented individually. He is very successful. He was a software nerd, and then he successfully quit his job.
Yeah.
He don't talk until I'm done until I say your name. Okay. He successfully got a divorce. He's just mad right now. I can see it. He also he's homeless. He doesn't have no permanent abode right now. And what else? He only has like one backpack worth of items, so he's on his last threads. He doesn't have a wardrobe of a closet, no suits. But he's a very sexual individual. He's growing, he's blossoming into his masculinity. And that's why I have him on my podcast on the first show, the first of the Jake Berger show, because I want to start with a bang. And if you're gonna bang, you might as well know how to bang. So let's start right now. It's Brett Christensen, everybody. Hey.
Jake Berger.
Yeah, that's my name. You don't need to introduce. They already know.
Yeah. So it's your show, the first one.
Yeah. And I'm the captain. I'm the leader, the guide. But I'm gonna guide us together on a journey.
Oh, I can't wait to see what journey you have in store.
So I feel a little bit of tingling in my stomach because this is my first show. I'm vibing, but it's a good vibe. It's like I'm on stretching my comfort zone. That's what this is about. So if you want to stretch yourself, you do some yoga, or you can stretch your mind too.
Start a podcast.
Yeah, that's a good thing too. So just a little backstory. Brett and I, we met in a growth house, and I'll talk about that in some later segments. Because basically, it was 5 of us guys. We rented an apartment in Belgrade, Serbia. He's Australian, a couple German dudes, a Polish guy. I'm Amerikanats. We rented an apartment, and for 1 month, we wreaked havoc on a Slavic population. That was our first meeting, and I felt like you and I, we had a vibe. We were both software nerds at one point.
That's right.
We both have great hair.
Absolutely true, yeah.
Our beards are not that great, but we have blue eyes.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit taller.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot one thing. Brett, he's a family of criminals. Australian. It's like, imagine if part of our human population in the future, we just said, all right, all criminals, you got to go to Mars and live on Mars. That's kind of like how it was in 1700s. So in part,
Basically, yeah. Like,
you could successfully be a bank robber.
yeah, it's in my blood that, I've chosen higher purposes
Yeah.
than that for this lifetime.
And we're going to talk about the higher purpose in a little bit. But as you might have noticed, our listeners, our guests, our viewers, this isn't the standard, oh, that's 7 tips to BBBB, or like, here is how you really feel good about your life. Oh, it's about flow, alignment. This is going to be practical and entertaining at the same time.
Good.
I invite you to take a deep breath. You look a little bit stiff, or maybe like Mr. But
Should I just
you're loosening up.
put my hands over my head,
There you go. Do some like
wave them around like I just don't care?
He used to be a fitness instructor.
Yeah.
So Brett's a tantra guy, but he was divorced before that. He was married, divorced. He was nerdy over. I stalked your old Facebook photos. You were a little bit
That's
chubbers.
at one point. Yeah.
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 He was packing a little bit more around his belly.
Yeah. That's true.
But now he's packing more around his groin area.
Yeah. I've successfully converted the fat into extra package size. That's true. Yeah. I'm not going to share that tip today, though.
Okay.
It's a secret.
Well, that's the point of this show, is to share our secrets. Expose our mistakes, our dark side. This is also, it's not going to be the Wanderlust Instagram filtered. This is unfiltered, unclothed, undeniably.
So you want to expose ourselves on camera to the world.
Because we can learn from our past mistakes, and then others can avoid those mistakes. Right? So everyone's made bad decisions. Like I made this drawing a few moments ago, and it's not very good drawing, but it helps. So, Brett, let's talk about your journey of sexuality. Tell me, what's one thing that you believed that Disney shoved up your eyeballs and it got into your brain and percolated and baked into there for so long before you took it out of the oven and threw it in the garbage?
Sure. One of the biggest things would have been that men want sex and women just want relationships, and they're like almost like they're enduring the sex to get the relationship from the man.
Okay.
So phrasing it another way, that women in general are not interested in casual sexual encounters or sexual encounters that don't lead to some endpoint, like a marriage, basically.
Like you were married.
I was once married. It's true.
I don't see a ring on your finger now, though. He's single, ladies. Well,
I'm not single.
Well,
we can go into that.
Yeah, we're not labeling it. Okay, he's not married though. That's for sure. He's on the market.
I'm both on the market and not on the market.
Yeah,
it's nuanced.
He's weaving between the lines.
Yeah, I'm just forging my own path.
See this piece of paper? There's no stripes on it. That's on purpose.
Yeah.
Because then my mind can go where it wants to. So tell me, how did you discover, like, is that how you got into marriage? Like that was just like part of your, okay, I got a job, save money for retirement, I get married.
Very much, yeah. It was in my mind, all my friends were doing this thing. So you would meet this girl, have a
Just
casual.
tell me your experience.
This
Like,
is
you
my
met a
this is
girl,
also my experience.
just say like, hey, I met this girl at this place, and I want to hear your story.
Yeah, this is my story.
So share, like, you're specific.
Yeah, so I met the girl at a party. We were both a bit, let's say, a bit drunk. Yeah, a bit of alcohol involved. We have, I can't remember if we had sex on the first time we met. I think it was not. I think it kind of went on a simmer for a little bit, and then we met at this party, and we made love on the living room floor.
Oh, that's
after everyone had gone to bed, and there was someone else sleeping in the living room. So we were kind of behind a couch, but there were some noises.
I was going to ask, squelching noises or moans or
both and
grunts.
Yeah, and but it was, I don't know, it was somehow kind of magical the way it happened. So it was beautiful. Like, it may not sound it, but it was actually quite special. Just the way everything happened. And from that, we were seeing each other a bit, and I think seeing a couple of girls at that time. But I was following this kind of script, like I would see someone casually, but it had to go towards a serious relationship. Like, we sometimes use the term relationship escalator. It's an idea.
I've never heard that.
Okay, it's an idea coming from polyamory, generally. It's like it's not limited to that though. So it's like, if you think about your relationship like an escalator, you start at the bottom with a casual encounter or a date or whatever, and then you go towards like, oh, now we're serious, we're not seeing anyone else, and then you're moving in together, and then you're getting married, and then buying a house, or maybe the order's not exactly always like that you can shift around a bit, but the end result is that you get on the escalator here, and then you get it at the top. It's like you're married, you've got some children, and I guess at some point you die. Like, a successful relationship in this model, which is what most of the world follows, is the relationship is successful when one of you dies. That's how it is.
Okay. And you were together and somebody dies.
No one. Thankfully, no one died. That's
no. I mean, like, the relationship has achieved success when you had been together, and then somebody dies.
Yeah, success. Exactly. Like, it's like if you're married and you get divorced, that's considered by most of society a failed marriage. Even if you would still be friends after, which I am still very good friends, and we have a really nice relationship. But in other people's minds, that's a failed marriage because we didn't make it till one of us was on our deathbed.
Okay.
That's like the standard model. You get together, you're together for life, and otherwise that relationship is a failure.
Okay.
So
I want to just say I love the metaphor of the escalator.
Yeah.
Because it's almost, stairs are different. Stairs, we make the steps. Escalator, it just takes us.
It's exactly like that, yeah.
Right?
You're not even
conscious that it's...
Yeah. And it was a bit like that with my relationship. It was like, we've been together for this long, now we should move in together. I mean, in my case, we moved to another city, and that's when we moved in together.
Okay.
And then, she started wanting, like, hinting at marriage, and then it was like, okay, so
dropping fucking...
It's been
oh, well, I like this type of ring. Yeah. I had that too. God.
Yeah.
Don't quit dropping hints, girls. Just say like, hey, I want to shackle you down. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, she was more or less upfront about it eventually, and
more or less eventually. That's a bunch of bullshit. That ain't fucking...
Okay, it was quite clear. So at some point, I didn't really want to get married, but I had this thing going in my head, which was that I was afraid of commitment. And so, but that if I did commit, then everything would be okay. It was just that I was scared and I had to take this step.
Okay.
And so I kind of, at some point, I against my intuition and everything else, and she was also saying like she basically said, either we should break up or we should take this next step.
That's called an ultimatum.
It was an ultimatum, yeah. And so we had this big trip planned. We were going to travel the world for 5 months, and it got to a few days before we were leaving, and I was like, if I'm going to do it, this would be the time to do it. And so I went and bought a ring and like an engagement ring. I didn't know anything about doing that, so that was interesting. Like subtly getting her ring size and stuff.
Like at night, you kind of like put a tranquilizer in her so she wouldn't wake up.
Exactly. And then I dragged her to the ring store, still under the tranquilizer. They sized it.
Yeah.
Put her back in bed, and she woke up, and I was like, "Whoa, you drank a lot last night."
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like still slurring her words when she wakes.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was fun.
She got a good deal out of, a nice metal object around her.
She did.
One of her fingers.
Got a shiny object. Yeah. So that was good. And yeah, so we did get married.
You said there was like some voice in your head that was, or some intuition. What was that intuition saying? Because there must have been a conflict, like one of what people have been, society has said, like, this is how you should do it. And then there's a voice saying, no, man. What was that? Intuition. I'm curious.
Yeah, it was the conflict between wanting to keep my freedom, and but also having this script in my head from society that this is what a real man will do. It's like it's honorable. Like all my friends had done it, or not all of them, but most of them by that stage. Is like, yeah, this is what you do. You meet the girl, and if you love her, then you should marry her and have some children and a family.
2.5 kids.
Yeah.
Half a dog.
A house, like have this career and everything. And yeah, that was it. So the conflict was between that and then a side of me which was saying, this is not you. It's not you. And definitely not yet. Like there's...
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. I don't know if it ever will be, but there was a side of me which said, no, this is not the path for you.
Okay.
You have adventures to live and like a higher purpose, and doing this is not aligning with that.
Yeah.
I could feel it even then. Like there was this mismatch.
Yeah.
Like I was getting up every day and living this life. I started to feel a bit empty, or it wasn't exactly depression.
Non-fulfilling.
But it kind of was. Like
empty actions.
Yeah, everything was empty, and it didn't... There was like the spark or the beauty was gone from life for some time.
For life, wow.
From life.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then thinking like this, okay, that's it. This is how things play out.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of times I did feel like depressed, or like I never seriously thought about death or suicide, but there was a couple of times where I was like just waiting for the train to go to work in the morning, and even I just like the thought flashed into my head like, oh wait, would it make a difference if I just jumped on the tracks? Like, yeah, I felt like I'd lost the control of my life, and that someone else was dragging me through my life, and I wasn't.
Man.
I was like, yeah, I don't think it was never a serious feeling like I would actually do it, but
It was
it was a big fucking warning sign for me when those thoughts came in. I was like, probably not. Something's out of balance. Like, I'm not doing the right thing.
Yeah, I'd say more like you fell off the bicycle and you like scraped your knee. I should get this checked out.
Yeah.
You said something about like the honorable thing to get married. It reminds me of the White Knight. Like guys need to save girls, and
Yeah, there was a little bit of that happening for sure. That was a factor.
And I have more of like this treasure hunter mentality. Or
okay, what does it mean to be a treasure hunter?
I'm exploring my life. I'm on my journey, on my path. A white knight saves girls, people, but people don't need saving. Then that white knight becomes a savior, then he becomes a martyr. It's like a downward spiral. Good intentions, but it's not good results.
Yeah, you hit exactly the point. It was like I did feel like a martyr in some ways. I felt like it was this enormous self-sacrifice that I was going through. But at some point I was questioning, like, why? Why make this sacrifice? Like, why? Is it really the best thing for her even that I do this?
How's the sex?
How
did it start? What was the trajectory? If you could like graph it out.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, in this, it was never bad per se, but like it was really good in the start of the relationship, which I think that's pretty standard. Like, you have all the nice hormones flowing and everything.
Yeah.
And you're all like googly eyed for each other, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say towards the last, like, so the relationship was about 6 years long, and maybe in the last 3 years, let's say about 3, it really slowed down.
Yeah.
It felt kind of mechanical, like, and almost like dutiful on her part in some ways.
On her part.
Yeah, there was a couple of points where I think it's hard to, I don't want to say too much is like her, because it was more like the relationship and how it went. So, but it felt like my sex drive was much higher than hers. And at some point I did kind of speak up and say, look, I need more than this.
Yeah.
But the problem with that was, yeah, we had a bit more sex after that, but it's like, it felt like she was only doing it to please me or keep the relationship, which is it's not a good place to be as a man, to think that someone's only having sex with you because out of duty. I want sex to be this amazing shared experience that brings us closer to the divine. I mean, I didn't know that then, by the way, but I just knew that I wanted
closer to divine.
Yeah, I wanted the sex to be good, like to be
closer to the pearly gates.
Yeah. And yeah, let's just say it wasn't bad, but it was like dutiful. Like, once, yeah, being completely unfiltered, but like there was basically a day where I would get a blowjob. It was like, I can't remember which day, it was maybe Tuesday or something. And like every Tuesday. And it was
4:30 p.m.
It's like blowjob day. And It's fine. Like,
Oh my
but
god.
it's not where I want it to be.
Fine.
Fine. Yeah.
By the way, if something is fine in anyone's life, that's a trigger word for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's just average.
Totally average.
That's
Yeah.
just, it's like just it reaching average if something is fine. You know what that means? It's a passive aggressive, I don't want to talk about it. It's fine. That's what it means. I don't want to engage in meet and deal with this.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I mean, it wasn't fulfilling. It was like, it was like just really just getting rid of the, quelling my sexual energy for another week or another few days.
Okay.
Well,
all right. Let's talk about another. Give me a fun myth, or give me a fun a misadventure.
Did we get to the end of that myth?
Yeah, we'll circle back around.
Circle back.
Sounds good. It's just getting a little bit hairy.
Yeah, a little bit hairy.
Yeah. She didn't shave for a while.
Oh no, let's not say that.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
You didn't shave. Look at his hair.
I didn't shave my balls for the longest time.
Jeez. My hair, it's blending in with the books, keep talking.
Yeah.
Tell me something else.
So another persistent myth I would say, is that girls enjoy sex less than men. Well, that's maybe a related one to what I said before. So the thing I said before was that girls tend to have sex to get a relationship.
Okay.
Or they'll like endure it to get to the relationship.
Give me something way different than that one. They're too similar.
Those two are quite similar.
Yeah. How about the three, or like there's gotta be a set of, do you think that the people still watching, like our hardcore viewers, that they would even believe, or, because I think people who are still watching, they have an idea that, okay, I can meet a person, we can have amazing connection, and be in bed within a half an hour. Do you think these people, maybe they heard of it, or they haven't experienced it? And not just like a one night stand, but like amazing, like a multi-year stand. Mm-hmm. Not even a stand. A stand is kind of like,
yeah,
a multi-year dance maybe is a better.
Yeah, and I've had the experience a number of times now. So
maybe that myth is like, you need to go through steps A through Z. You have 3 dates, and one needs to be coffee, and you need to like find out all of her family members' names, and
that's one. And I'd say the related one is that casual or a fast sexual encounter can't go deep or can't become something more, because absolutely it can.
Tell me about, do you think that part of that kind of led you up this relationship escalator to get married? Like part of that belief was like, oh, I gotta start all over before I can have this amazing connection.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, I think it did. There's a bit of that sunk cost fallacy, which is a term coming from investment. If we need to explain that one.
Yeah, so it's basically like, okay, imagine if I was baking a cake, and I'm halfway through the recipe and I fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, somebody might just try to like plow through that or get angry that they messed up, so they'll try to like keep baking that cake. Instead, it's better to just start over, because either way that is going to be shit.
Yeah.
Basically, like there's so much emotional attachment to the past, right? Like, oh, I did all this work. I put all this time in. I don't want to, like, if I stop now and do a new path, I'll lose everything.
Yeah, it's a bit of that. Yeah, it's in that time I didn't believe that it could happen so quickly. You know, oof, some nice crunching.
Oh, I got a good one. If I lay down on my yoga mat and I do like corpse pose, and then I can pull my thing like that, my head,
Yeah,
my noggin, my skull, and my spine, like, so. And sometimes I like hang upside down, like a possum, and play dead, but I'm alive.
So you hang upside down like a dead possum.
Yeah. They play dead.
So that they hang
From their tails. If I had a tail, then I think they hang from their tails. Yeah. I lost my tail a few years ago, so
dropped off.
Yeah, I just
like
got
a lizard.
Yeah, so a girl was chasing after me and she tried to attack me, and I just let it go.
And was she fooled? She just
Yeah, she's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
So sunk cost fallacy of, like, I've got to go through all this again, you know?
Yeah. And
tell me a story where that completely obliterated that belief, because you said you had been casual dating girls, and it seemed like maybe then you finally met this one girl. It was an amazing experience. You had sex behind a couch with somebody on the couch.
basically, yeah.
So, but there was something, grunts, so that was good.
Yeah.
But, so tell me about an experience you had that just obliterated that false belief, that myth, that lie.
Oh, I mean, there's been
just
so
one story, man. Come on, give our lovely listeners, our dedicated.
Okay. There was it was a couple of years ago. I was going to a tram stop, which I don't know if everyone knows what a tram is, but
it's like a train on the road.
It's like a train on the road
city.
In a city.
That's a tram.
Yeah.
If you don't know what a tram is, you got a dictionary on your phone.
Yeah. Anyway, Melbourne's famous for all these trams.
Okay, tram stop.
And there was just a girl there. She was listening to music on her headphones, and I saw her. I was crossing the road, and she's standing there against the wall, and I just felt compelled. Like there was something pulling me to her.
From where? Your cock? Your chest?
It was. It felt like the solar plexus, maybe, something around there.
Which chakra is that?
That would be Manipura, which is the fire chakra.
Ooh.
It's below the heart. It's where your.
Yeah, I know. That's my heart is on my boobie.
Yeah.
And on your heart is under your boobie.
Yeah, it's here somewhere.
Okay.
But, anyway. So I felt pulled from there.
Awesome.
And
well, hold on. One quick question. Solar plexus chakra. What is that like? What's the vibe? Creativity, or
no,
like fire?
It's
passion.
It's passion, but it's also it's your like direction and your fire in life so like domination or submission is coming from here, like leadership, being in command.
Tantra master.
All of these qualities are from there. So just on a little segue, that if you were having sex from that place, it would be like this: someone is dominating and someone is submitting, and that can be. It doesn't have to be in a BDSM like leather and spandex or whatever way. It can be just in the like you're taking her and she's allowing it. She's surrendering.
What would be, because I want to like keep on this segue, because when I think of dom and submission, I immediately think of like leather assless chaps, and you got the whip, So how could what's a like what how does it look without BDSM, but submission and domination without BDSM? Because I don't know, I'm
It could
curious.
just be like grabbing her and pushing her up against the wall and kissing her, or like pulling her, like getting behind here and like pulling her head up and then like biting her neck.
Okay.
It's like you're taking control
Okay.
of her and you're taking her.
Okay.
And not in a rapey way, by the way. It's like she's allowing. She's not, it's not like you're forcing her to do something.
Yeah.
But you are taking the initiative. You are taking control and leading the entire situation, but in quite a physical way. You could also use things like verbal commands.
Okay.
So you might say like,
Throw this chair at me.
Sure. No, it could just be like, turn around, hands against the wall, good girl. Like something like that. Yes, spread your legs a little bit more.
Which is command for my training. That's a command, and then when somebody fulfills the action, then you reward.
Exactly. So this is a technique that I would teach in BDSM. You want to keep a good ratio of command to reward.
Okay.
Or like being a bit dominating and then rewarding and being a bit softer. Because you don't want to be always like commanding.
It almost gets boring and predictable.
It's boring, yeah. It gets, and it's not fun for them either. So you want to mix it up. So you could do 2 commands and then 1 reward is a good ratio.
Okay.
So you want to tell her she's a good girl at some point, or whatever.
I'm feeling the flow. Are you feeling it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flow, yeah.
We're about half an hour in by my calculations. Okay. So BDSM, I want to come back out to the tram girl. Pulled.
Yeah, it was like a compulsion. It wasn't even a question that I would talk to her. I was just like.
Oh.
And so I walked up and she had her music on. She was looking a bit, let's say like she had a bad day or something.
Okay.
And she was like leaning against the wall, and I just came up and leant against the wall next to her, turned to her and said in a nice loud voice, like, hi. And she looked and then turned back, and then she looked again, and then she took her headphones off.
Okay.
And it just, my presence with her like snapped her out of this bad mood. We were talking, and then the tram came, and then like I got on the tram and we kept talking. And then she like, I was ready to leave it. I wasn't sure if it was going somewhere.
How long were you talking?
This was maybe only 5 minutes at this point.
Did you exchange contact information?
I can't remember if we'd done it yet. But,
or did you jump on the tram with her?
We were both getting the same tram.
Okay.
So, yeah. And I just got on and I continued talking to her, and she said, hey, do you want to get a beer?
Awesome.
So, and I was like, right now? She's like, yeah.
That's such a good, like, how does that work? I've had that before too, where I'm like, is it that easy?
Yeah.
Right?
And this is a beautiful woman, by the way. Like,
just in case you didn't know that Brett dates beautiful women,
Yeah.
He doesn't have like he doesn't travel with paper bags.
Hey, beauty is all in the eye of the beholder, right?
Yeah, it is.
Maybe you would see it and not be so attracted. The important thing is that
there's a difference between beauty and attraction, by the way.
Yeah, I would say objectively beautiful, but I also had this very strong attraction.
Awesome. So beer.
Yeah, so we went for a beer, and then I kissed her, and it was like wow, like magic. We were in this tiny little cramped bar, and there's like people sitting literally less than a foot away or like half a meter,
Yeah.
like a whole table full of people, and they could see us directly. And I just was like, it was just me and her, and the rest of the world did not matter. And there was so much presence between us, or so much. We were both so in the flow.
Yeah.
And we were just kissing, and the people were like laughing, and they're like making comments and stuff. But it was just like bouncing off our bubble of
Love.
love that we created. And I walked her back to her place because it was late at night, and she invited me up. And we didn't have sex that night. We came pretty close, but I could feel that this was going to be a long lasting thing, and there was no need to push it. Like I felt really satisfied with everything, and so I was like, okay, we don't have to have sex. We kissed a bit more. I think we had a glass of wine there,
Mm-hmm.
and just kept this delicious connection. And then
Was it tasty?
yeah,
Salty?
it was like we had energetic sex already. So it was a
Okay.
foregone conclusion that we would have sex.
You had sex in the future.
Yeah, it had already happened basically. Like I
Yeah.
knew this person is going to be in my life for some time. And then the next time I invited her over, we made some food, and we did make love, and it was beautiful, like so beautiful. But so that just exploded this idea that you can't have this fast connection. Like we both knew within 5 or 10 minutes of meeting each other that there's something here. You know, it's not that we needed to go on endless dates to realize that.
Yeah.
And she felt the same thing from talking to her.
And speaking of maybe even instant connections,
Mm.
when you talked about how you're in this cramped bar and there were people around you, oh man, I just had like, what's the anti-nostalgia? You know, like a miserable memory. You know, that's
Sure.
what I had because a couple of weeks ago, I met this girl on the street, and I just sometimes when I'm walking and I'm in my headspace, but I'm not even looking for people's, and I feel kind of like this body pass by me, and I felt that, and there was just some vibe there. I got like a feeling, so I turned around and I went and talked to her. She barely spoke any English, but she understood most of my English. So we went, and then we immediately went to get a coffee. And we were in this coffee shop, and we were flowing even with this language barrier. Google Translate was like our one of it was a third wheel, but we still had this flow, and I felt like kissing her. But then the idea, like other people around, and that's like a regretful moment. Maybe a regret is kind of, it's so interesting because the things I don't do, that I don't take action on, are way more regrettable than the ones I
Oh
have.
yeah. I could think of 100 times something like that's happened to me.
And let me just
Sure.
to finalize this. I didn't go for, even going for the kiss. I've went for the kiss before, and the girl turns or leans back, and then she just wasn't ready yet. And
Yeah.
then we kissed later.
Yeah.
But I didn't even go for the kiss, and she had to leave, so we ended. And then we haven't. I messaged her a couple times, and she didn't want to meet again. And I really believe it was because when we had this connection, I didn't
Yeah.
drop into it.
Yeah. Women, they like I hear this a lot from female friends, that they're like, yeah, I was just waiting for him to kiss me, or I was waiting for him to take me to bed, or whatever, waiting for the guy to take the next step, and giving as much space and like green lights and signals as they can, which are often very subtle. And if you don't do it, it's very unlikely they'll see you again. They either think that you're not interested, or you're not man enough, let's say, to be with them. But if you would at least try, then they'll respect that. Even if they would say no, like, I'm not ready yet, they respect that. They're like, okay, he's interested.
Yeah.
And he's in his masculinity, he's leading this interaction, and like he's pushing things forward in a respectful way. And they find that powerful.
And let's just make a distinction between respectful, persistent action and pushy action.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So for this, because we're talking about instant connections, part of that is collapsing time into, getting closer together, kissing, stumbling around, taking clothes off. And maybe, one time I was riding bicycle, and I had like this, what's that shiny material? Like that green neon material? It's kind of shiny. Elastic band.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
I had it around my ankle, and I was trying to take my pants off, and it was like tied, though. It wouldn't come off.
This is in the moment of undressing before sex.
Yes. Yeah. So how do we collapse time by taking persistent action versus pushy action? What's the distinction?
For me, it's having an awareness of the feelings and the mood of the girl.
Okay.
And just it's awareness. It's like watching her reactions. Like if you kiss her or try to kiss her, and she's like all tense, and then after she doesn't really want to talk, or the conversation goes somewhere like it stops.
Okay.
Then you're probably not going to try and kiss her again straight away, or
Okay.
maybe not at all. Maybe that's a big red flag. But if she would playfully just turn her head away and then maybe smile, or like I can't give the exact formula, like this is how it should happen. It's about learning yourself through the experience and calibrating a bit.
But
learning to calibrate.
Okay, there are some practical things that I've learned. Like, what happens if I go for the kiss? Like, one time I went for the kiss, and the girl leaned back, and she's, "What? What are you doing? What do you say then?"
I would say I was going to kiss you, or
Yeah,
I
felt
feel
like
so
kissing you.
attracted to you, and I wanted to kiss you right now.
That's what I say.
Yeah,
Because the reason why nobody can argue against
a feeling.
exactly.
Yeah, you've got to own it. That's true. And probably a side point on that, it's in that moment when you get rejected, let's say, it's as much about your reaction as to how things are going to play out as your actual action in the first place. So if she reacts if she throws something at you like, "What are you trying to kiss me for? We just met." And you're like, "Oh, no, I'm sorry. I never kiss girls. Like I was, yeah." And like, then you lose. If you get, and at the same token, if you get angry, like, "Oh, stupid girl, like, yeah, don't you want to kiss? Like, what's wrong with you? You frigid." Or like, started, antagonizing her. This is all wrong. But if you just playfully go, "Yeah, I was trying to kiss you. I'm attracted to you."
I wanted to taste your lipstick.
Yeah.
You know.
Like playful, or even just owning the fact that you did it
Yeah.
and that it's okay for a man to do that. That's how you can like win that situation.
Okay.
And whether it goes anywhere or not after that, you've kept your integrity and you've acted with integrity and you've owned your decision. And that's attractive.
Owning the decision, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between a decision and owning a decision and being wrapped up in it. Like when you said getting angry,
Yeah.
so, or wrapped up in the outcome maybe is a
That's
difference.
probably a good way to say it.
Yeah,
it's like being it's being not attached to the outcome.
Yeah.
It's like you want a certain outcome, you want to kiss her, you own your want or your desire.
Yeah.
But whether it happens or not, it doesn't faze you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're okay either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Awesome. So let me just this is a perfect time to do an unsponsorship recommendation. I'm unsponsored right now, but I don't know if I would ever do sponsored stuff. But if I did, the first one I was thinking about, what's something instant? You know, there's instant connections. That's what this episode is about. I think bringing girls and guys, lips and lips, and maybe other parts of the body together. So what's something, I'm not going to talk about the sponsor thing. That's another time, a recommendation. What's another myth? Or have you been talking too much?
No.
Okay.
I'm
trying to get first one, calibration. First show, or first episode. So I don't want to like give you a sore throat afterwards.
No, I can talk a lot more than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this. Guy goes for the kiss. Girl leans back, and then he owns it. He said, "I just felt like kissing you." When does he go for it again? When's the next time? Because it's pushy if he keeps, you know, if it's like boom. If he's a woodpecker, then he becomes a pecker head.
Oh, like my personal thing is like I will only go for a kiss with a girl when I feel it.
Where do you feel it? How do you know you feel it?
I'll feel like an energy there, like the sexual tension is there, and it's difficult to describe. Sometimes I feel it in my stomach, like a almost like a nervous energy or like a butterflies.
Okay.
But I have this feeling, and that's when I'll do it. And so I think after the kiss, after she's like said not yet about the kiss, I would wait until that feeling arises again.
Okay.
And maybe it won't. And then that's okay. But usually it does. And it can be quite soon after. Like I've had it where she's turned her head away and said no, and then looked back at me with like fire in her eyes.
Oh.
Like, okay, then now.
Yeah.
So again, it's about having an awareness of yourself and the other person, and taking the action when you feel it. And I think it comes down to the mirror neuron thing, which is this idea that if you're in a conversation with someone or in close proximity and you're feeling something, there's these neurons in the brain which mirror the people we're talking to or the people around us. If you're feeling that kiss vibe, she's probably feeling it too. And then the same, if you're not feeling it, she's probably not feeling it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would wait until that energy arises again.
That mirror neuron. That I got a story about that. I got a couple. That's happened multiple times with multiple different girls with me.
Mm.
Sometimes it doesn't happen because I don't, whatever reason, rapport. You right, but one time I was on a first date with a girl, and we literally, like, she's like, well, I don't have any other questions for you. We hadn't kissed yet. So all right. So I went for the kiss, and it wasn't like my first time. I wasn't anxious or nervous about the interaction. When we kissed, I just felt this, like, electricity butterflies start from my navel all the way spreading up to my chest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just this intense, anxious excitement. And that didn't come from me. Like, I wasn't nervous about the situation, or it was her sexual excitement. And when I felt that, okay, instant connection, and I said, all right, we don't have enough privacy here. Let's go somewhere else. She paid for the hot chocolate, and then we left.
And then you made love.
Yeah, we made love.
Wow.
And it was great. I don't want to go into details about that yet, because it's about instant connections.
Yeah.
But yeah, just that, having that, the more I've connected with myself, that's another thing, how to instantly connect with our own self.
Yes.
Do you have any, how could somebody, because sometimes we get too much into our own head.
Yeah.
Wrapped up in our thoughts, tangled up, confused. What do I do? The inner critic starts to get noisy, starts to yell at us. How do we, how does a person, like, instantly connect with their whole body so they could feel that if she's feeling it, right?
Yeah, it's about being in touch with your body, and I think the best thing that I did for that is not like starting to do meditation, but not
starting.
Starting.
Okay.
So I didn't used to have a great body awareness.
Okay.
But the meditation that I found most useful is doing something like a body scan.
Okay.
And that's where you would really slowly work through the sensations in each part in your body. So I might say, like, feel into your left big toe, the end of it, and feel the sensations there.
Okay. I feel the sock on my toe.
Yeah.
And maybe, actually, it's interesting because I'm focusing on my left big toe, but I feel a pulsing in my left side of my ankle.
Mm-hmm.
More than I feel the sensation in my toe.
Okay.
But I wasn't...
You weren't aware of that before I said anything, right?
Exactly.
That was just... So the sensation was always there.
Yeah.
But we just brought awareness to it. So, I mean, with lots of practice, I can drop into that very quickly, like any part of my body.
What's lots of practice? How often would you say a person...
To get to the level that I'm at now, I think it's going to depend on each person, but I would say like a month.
How long a day or a week?
Not so long. You could spend like 5 or 10 minutes per day for a month. And I think that would bring your level of awareness up so much.
Okay.
It's just...
Really?
Yeah.
You think consistently is important here?
Yeah, and once you have it, you don't lose it.
Yeah, it's like riding a bicycle.
It's exactly like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you have this body awareness, you you have it. I believe you have it for life.
Seriously. True. It's worth the investment of the 1 month, or I had the same thing with multi-orgasmic. It was about a month of doing the exercises, and then maybe once every 1 month I'll do Kegels. And I just got it,
Yeah.
riding a bicycle. Same with this body awareness.
Yeah. So that's one thing. So that's how you can connect into yourself and become more aware of the sensations, and then you might actually be able to feel those feelings, because they can be quite subtle. And the other one I would say is like practicing connecting to people. And the exercise I would recommend for that is just eye gazing.
How long?
2 to 3 minutes is good.
Okay.
Yeah. Of solid eye contact, no talking. So if you could find a partner for it, that's the best. But you can also practice it with yourself in a mirror. It's not as powerful.
I did that too, man. Holy shit.
Intense thing.
Yeah, it's looking at yourself in a mirror, literally.
Yeah.
That I did it in Thailand for like 45 minutes. Holy shit, man. If you're a man and you want to, I'm talking to the people here.
Yeah.
That was one of the most reflective, literally and metaphorically, like, what am I doing? What have I been doing? What to do next?
Yeah. I think so much of being a man or in a masculine energy is having a purpose and a mission in life. And yeah, doing that mirror exercise can be quite confronting, but I think very healthy. But doing it with another person, there's something about that intimacy or that intense eye contact that brings you, it's almost like you realize that we're not separate after all. Like, you'll start to feel what they're feeling.
One quick thing, or you can, did you have, okay. How does that work? Do I look like in one eye or the other eye, or how do I, because...
Yeah, it's not super important. I've experimented with various different ways, and I think it's actually good to try yourself. So you can try the left eye, the right eye. I mean, some spiritual traditions say the left eye because that's the window to the soul or the heart.
Okay.
I found it's not so important, and actually what can be really nice is not to look directly in the eyes, but you are looking at the eyes, but you're taking, rather than being completely focused on, like, say, the pupil, taking a softer focus. So you take in the whole person that's in front of you.
I'm doing it right now.
So you're seeing like
their aura, or
their aura, their
shape.
hair, their everything about their presence. So you're looking at the eyes, but you're seeing the whole being that's in front of you, the whole human.
I'm doing it right now with you.
You can see like the hair moving in the wind maybe, and like the texture of their clothes. And it's this, that's like a really good way to build presence as well, is practicing that. Because if you can do that comfortably with someone with this soft focus, it's a lot less intense and intimidating but still present.
Okay.
Whereas like just looking deep in the eyes can be very intense, which can be good, but you don't want to do it so much that you scare the person away, or they close up.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to switch between like intense focus and then like a softer, relaxed gaze.
And there was something about either the eye gazing. How long? 2 minutes? About 2 to 3 minutes?
Yeah, 2 to 3 minutes. And
is it okay to blink?
Yeah.
It's not a staring contest.
It's not a staring contest. And you're probably going to feel like... the interesting thing that I've found is that it can be a lot more intense with people that you know well than with strangers. And especially like a family member, because I know I did it with my mum once, and that, like, that was really, really intense because I don't think we ever looked at each other in the eyes so long. There was like so many things coming up, and like it's like, wow, this is my mom. She brought me into the world, like gave me life, and like this is the first time we really looked in each other's eyes properly. Like I couldn't believe it, but it's true.
Huh.
Like other than that, when we were not really present with each other, so it can be a bit confronting with depending on the relationship with the person.
Yeah.
But even with a stranger, like you're probably going to feel uncomfortable. A classic thing is
you
like
could feel uncomfortable.
You might feel uncomfortable
Because here's why. If you've never done it before, if a person hasn't done it before, that's outside their comfort zone.
Yeah,
that's a good feeling to feel uncomfortable.
It's perfect.
Maybe it doesn't feel good, but it's a good feeling.
Yeah. I just wanted to make people aware that it's not a bad thing. It's good to go to feel that and to continue. A lot of people will smile or laugh to try to relieve the tension.
Yeah.
Like make it into a joke, like, oh, this is funny now. Because when we feel tension, we want to release the tension, and like laughing is one way to do it. So I'd encourage to try to just feel the sensation and go through it rather than trying to release the pressure. Just feel it, and like all sensations, it's going to rise up, and then at some point it's going to drop and fade away, and you'll go into comfort.
Okay.
And then when you can comfortably just look in the eyes, that's when you have this real connection and like things will come.
That makes sense. It reminds me of like delayed gratification almost. It's like if I can just go, I don't like to say push through this, but if I can be disciplined, maintain discipline through this discomfort, when I get on the other side, there's going to be more pleasure.
Yeah.
Versus like if I laugh, giggle, then it takes away from the massive pleasure.
It's exactly that you've really got to let it reach that crescendo, and then you'll feel it drop and go to a comfortable energy.
Yeah, that's a good tip, eye gazing.
Yeah.
And I was going to say one thing about the body scans. In my practices, it's important not to be judging, I like this or I don't like it, or this is good or bad. Just to be observing, watching, without labeling, just, okay, this is the tingling in my left ankle, but I'm not going to say that's uncomfortable or that I don't like it. I'm just going to notice that it's there.
Yeah.
Is that something that is part of your practice also?
Yeah, not trying to, not judging the sensations or saying this is good or bad. It's just a sensation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it takes away the power or the...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it becomes like any other sensation. So you're right, rather than saying discomfort, you can say there's just a feeling that's in my stomach.
Oh, I'm going to do an episode about, that's going to be a running theme throughout my episodes, is emotions are sensations.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they see a post on Instagram, they get triggered, they allow themselves to get triggered, and it creates emotions, and their attention gets snagged on those emotions in a negative way. It just like getting dragged around by their emotions instead of just watching what's happening. And I feel like people with a low level, who haven't yet accepted a higher level of responsibility, have a tendency to get snagged or triggered by their emotions. What I mean by higher level of responsibility is, I created this situation. I'm here because of my own decisions. I chose to watch, somebody chose to watch this podcast, this show, this episode, if we talked about something that they disliked, that they didn't agree with, that's their fault,
Yeah, that's
right?
true. And for me, it's also about taking ownership of your own emotions.
That's what I
and
mean.
emotional
Responsibility,
state.
ownership. To me, it's synonymous.
Yeah, but not just the actions that led you there, but just like if someone makes you feel sad, then you take responsibility for that. That's like, I was triggered and I'm feeling sad about this. I wouldn't say like, Jake triggered me, Jake's a bad person because now I'm sad. It's like,
Even
no,
just
why do I feel
saying,
sad?
say, Jake made me sad.
Jake made me sad.
Yeah, I can't make you feel anything,
Exactly.
right? That's a big. So, people watching, listening, if you notice yourself saying that, that's important.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
a good. Even just having the awareness that you have said it will allow you to expand into your responsibility.
that's it. And when you think about it, it's very disempowering to have a mindset like that. Like, people just walking around making me feel stuff. And
Yeah.
it's all them. There's no agency for you. So take back your power and take responsibility for the things that you feel. That's my advice.
Just a quick pause. It's 6:02 p.m.
Oh,
Oh, your eyes got wet. That's pretty good, huh? We've been going for over an hour.
yeah, we need to wrap up because I have a call right now.
Okay.
So,
Is it urgent?
yeah,
Is it important also?
it's important, yeah.
Nobody else can do the interview?
It's
You're the only one on the interview?
Patrick and I on the interview.
Patrick's done plenty. We can wrap it up though. I don't want to pressure you. You want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I mean,
Plug your stuff.
we can also
Do another episode.
do another episode, or we can just continue after or tomorrow.
We'll
Cut it
continue
together.
after. I want to get to technical stuff. Okay, plug your stuff.
Plug my stuff. Okay.
You plug enough holes. Plug your own stuff.
Yeah, so I'm a male sexuality coach.
Yeah.
I'm experienced in teaching Tantra and BDSM, and at the moment I'm working on an online course,
Okay.
which with my goal to have much better connections between men and women. So helping men understand their own masculinity and male sexuality, and helping them understand how to connect better with the feminine and understanding female sexuality. So that's something I'm working on right now. I also have a free book out at the moment on the 6 principles of female sexuality.
How big? How many pages is it? I don't want to read a book.
It's not it's more like a short
17
book, like an
pages.
ebook. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, something like this.
So you could, and he might, if anybody asks, maybe he'll record an audio version, because people they don't want to read on paper, or not even on paper, just on ebooks. But where can people find this stuff? Because you said what you got, but you don't say where to get it yet.
The best way is to look me up on Instagram, which is at Brett, BRETT,
Yep.
double T, underscore,
Like titties.
underscore CHR.
Okay. And
that'll be in the show notes.
We're going to put links for that stuff in the descriptions. And what else? There was something else. Oh, the course. I would say it's about how to do these instant connections, right? Instead of like better connections, it's like instant.
Yeah, it's
what
instant.
does better mean?
Yeah, I mean, better. Yeah, help instant connections and better relationships in general. And there's also going to be a lot of juicy stuff in there, like learning about different female erogenous zones, different orgasm types, because women can have 8 to 9 different types of orgasm.
Oh, 8 to 9.
Yeah, it depends how you classify it. And yeah, so
Not just screaming.
No. So, and it can be a beautiful thing to share that experience with a woman, different types of orgasms. So
yeah.
yeah.
Awesome.
It's going to teach you to be a better lover.
First episode in the books. Brett Christensen. Look it up, guys. If you want to, make instant connections with the opposite femininity, sex, and gender, and if you're curious about BDSM, but maybe not with the leather ass chaps, then
Yeah, I also provide Skype coaching for all that stuff. I run workshops as well, and yes, there's many ways that we can connect, and I can share my knowledge.
Slide into his DMs. I think that's the slang these days. Slide into his DMs. You follow, you send a message, and you get hooked up with him and maybe some girl. And do you do anything with girls? Do you help girls also?
Yes, I do.
Could.
I do. I work with couples as well.
Okay.
In teaching them. I could also...
It's just not like your main focus.
No, the main focus is on helping guys to connect better.
Awesome.
But also I work with couples and helping them to connect better together.
Awesome. So this is the first episode of the Jake Berger show. What else would I name it? But this is about, like I said, winning and celebrating wins, because too many people are just trying to get to the next thing and the next and the next, and they just end up with an empty void. They're a shell. So how do we have fulfillment? So if you like this episode, then click the love. Please send me messages for feedbacks, because this is a conversation between me and the guest and me and you. And this is on my purpose. So I want to talk with you. I want to make love with you. Maybe not sexual love, but we can do the eye gazing thing if you're a male. And I prefer female though. And subscribe, because there are more episodes coming your way. And if you miss one, you're going to miss more of this handsome fellow.
That's right.
Yeah, his ancestors were criminal, but he's a criminally delicious and sexually awesome. So thank you for watching and listening, and I love you, and I love Brett, and we're going to have a bro hug after we press the stop button. So peace and prosperity.